Hello, you guys. Welcome back to the Cake Radio Show. I'm the CakeDive, and I hope you guys are doing well because today we will be talking about Katy Perry and her new single, Woman's World, coming out tonight, and the album rollout and everything that people have been talking about. So, for those who don't know, which if you're listening to this episode, I'm pretty sure you do know, because like a lot of the stands and stuff, a lot of the fans be tuning into these episodes for the girls the girls be tuning in, um but to the casual listener of Cake Radio, before we even dig into things, because I wanted to give a special thank you for tuning in. It makes me feel so happy that you guys have been loving the podcast so far in spite of everything, and I'm glad that you guys have been enjoying these episodes. And if you guys want to support the channel more, be sure to listen to the other episodes. If you haven't, be sure to hit subscribe on the YouTube channel where you get episodes first at Cake Radio Show. And be sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, love y'all so much. Be sure to follow, turn on your notifications for more, and give the show a good rating. But before that whole little read, let's dig into this Katy Perry, y'all. So for y'all who don't know, Katy Perry has announced that she is dropping a new album. It's called 143. It's coming out this September, I believe September 20th. Going off the top of my head here, so if I get anything wrong, please don't whack me. And tonight, July 11th, we will be listening to the first single off of the album, Woman's World. She announced this back in, I believe, last month, June. And she has been teasing snippets and giving us clips from the music video. And the girls have been mixed. The girls really have been mixed. A lot of the people were hearing that she was teasing her new era, and the girls was gagging because they're like, ooh, like maybe Katy Perry will be out of her flop era. And the girls have been saying that Katy Perry's been in her flop era because, she hasn't been, hitting the hits with her recent music like she has with the past. In all honesty, I feel like part of that's partially nostalgia, because like, listen, like we all were there when the Teenage Dream album came out, and I think that I remember critically people weren't really feeling the album when it first came out, but over time people started becoming really nostalgic, and it was again a commercial success. But the girls with like Witness and the other album that came out that nobody listened to, the girls really have not been feeling Katy Perry. So she's just kind of been in the background doing American Idol. But now she's back. She dropped American Idol, and she is back with 143, the 7th album of Katy Perry. And she first announced this single in like June. She also, the girls was gagging. It was like, oh my god, Katy Perry's back. It was liking the album, the not the album cover, but they liked the single cover. It was kind of interesting. Like she had the moon boots, the futuristic moon boots. I like, ooh, like she's coming to gag us with like a futuristic era. Like this is gonna get very interesting. And then we got the first snippet, which at first not a lot of people believe was the first snippet, because people were like, this does not sound good. They're like this, and there were rumors that came out suggesting that there were multiple rumors that came out the rumor mill. There was one rumor that was saying that, oh, like this was a fake snippet that Katy Perry put out. This is a scheme that Todd set up to fool y'all with the real song. They were saying that this was a fake snippet, that Katy Perry and them were still in the studio making the song, and that they would just put out a fake snippet to get people kind of confused and kind of get people talking before the real snippet came out. Again, it's a scheme that Todd set up to come to you with the bullshit. But then there was the rumors that this was actually a scrap song from Ava Max that Katy Perry took and ended up working with Dr. Luke to produce and remake. And when those rumors came out, then people started having conversations of like, okay, why is Katy Perry collaborating with Dr. Luke again? Because, after Kesha came forward and talked about what happened between the two of them and those horrible things that happened, and, Dr. Luke fell from grace, Katy Perry also cut ties with Dr. Luke. And with a lot of her albums going forward, she did not collaborate with him like she did in the past. Now, Since then, it seems like Dr. Luke has seemed to have a little bit of a resurgence. Like, it seems like a lot of girls are now a-okay with collaborating with him. Like, we had what? Doja Cat collaborated with him, Nicki Minaj collaborated with him, Lotto collaborated with him. Um, who else collaborate? Like, Kim Petras. Like, the girls will keep dragging Kim Petras to hell because of the fact that she continues to work with Dr. Luke. Whether that's by choice or not, we don't know. But the whole Dr. Luke seems to be coming back to prominence, unfortunately. And those who like feel some type of way about it are looking at Katy like, why are you collaborating with Dr. Luke? And I was also feeling the same way. I'm like, why are you, after you kind of cut ties with him, why are you coming back to work with him? Then I heard the snippet. Then I heard the second snippet. Then I heard the other snippets of the other songs that are going to be on this 143 album. And then I had an epiphany. Then it dawned on me that Katy Perry, Catherine Perry, wants a hit. She really wants a hit album. She's tired of being called a flop. She wants to be back in the hit maker zeitgeist conversation. And the snippets that we've gotten of these songs, both from Women's World and the new snippets we got a few days ago from what there's like Nirvana, I'm Him, I'm His, I'm Hers, featuring Doechii. That might not be the actual track, but that's pretty much just what I remember. And then there's another track that she has on the album with 21 Savage, and they all sound, they don't sound good. Like, they sound like pop slop. And I don't mean this in an offensive way because, like, again, like, for those who listen to the podcast, y'all know that I come at everybody fairly equally. Like, even with the girls who I, like, really support and those who I got my stand card for, like, I'm still willing to give them they 5s, they 3s, they 0s, because when, you know, you're not doing something that you're not doing the things that need to be done, like, they should be talked about. Like, I'm an equal opportunity whacker, truly. And Katy Perry, the thing about Katy Perry is just that the songs sound like they don't sound cohesive in the sense that, like, these should all be on an album. Because I think the way that I see albums is that there should at least be, and that's not to say that the songs don't sound consistent. They do sound consistent. But the thing is that when it comes to albums, you should at least have some sort of, when you listen to an album, you should have an understanding of, like, why this album was made. Like, what was the thought process of, you know, the artist who put these songs together to make a cohesive body of work? What story are they trying to tell? What are the vibes that they're trying to, like, convey with this album? And with the snippets that I've heard so far, and again, I'm going purely off snippets at this point because the song Women's World has not dropped, the album is not out. I can't go off anything with outside the snippets. So this is, again, we can take this with, you guys can take this with a grain of salt if you want to, because, you know, anything can happen between the snippets and the songs. But from what I've heard on these snippets, it feels as if Katy's desperate for a hit. Like, the songs sound very samey, and they sound like songs that we've heard before from Katy Perry. And that's the problem for me. The songs sound like songs that we've already gotten from Katy Perry, whether it was from the Witness era, whether it's from one of the songs reminded me very clearly of, like, the song that she did with Zed, 365, and that's actually one of my favorite songs from Katy Perry. So it sounds like the snippets that we've heard just sound like worse versions of songs that we've already gotten from Katy Perry. And that is my problem personally, because I feel like with Katy Perry, it's very clear that she wants, you know, a hit. She doesn't want to be in the flop conversations. And I feel like the issue is that she hasn't really understood, like, she hasn't found the balance of, like, what does her audience want and what does she want to convey as an artist. And the thing is that like the fans, they do want that quirky, absurd, like visual narrative that they get from Katy Perry and that they've gotten from Katy Perry in the past with her hits. And even not even with like the Witness era, when she transitioned into what people would call her flop era, you know, people still enjoyed or at least appreciated the like weirdness of the era when it was tasteful. That's the thing. When it comes to like Teenage Dream and even some parts of the Witness era and some of the other albums that she's done, people like the weirdness when it's like funny or tasteful. When it came, once we got to the Witness era and beyond, a lot of the moves that she's done have come off as very like weird, quirky, and that I think that has turned people off from Katy Perry as well. Um, One of my biggest issues with like Woman's World is also just the fact that it sounds like again, a lot of these songs sound very like samey and sound like it's just here to be a hit. They don't really convey some sort of true story or narrative. Um, but for me, it feels as if she, like with Woman's World, it sounds like it is like a vapid girl power song, like a white feminist song, dare I say. And it's like, why do we need that in 2024 when we're in this era where like women's rights are being taken away, everybody's rights are being taken away, and we have to kind of do this weird election in which like both presidents feel like they 7 days away from, you know, the type thing. You know what I mean? And it just seems like it's coming out at the wrong time. Like I feel like this would be a song that would come out in like 2016, 2015 and be a big hit. But like in 2024, when like people's thoughts and political leanings are shifting, it feels very it is very disingenuous. The song sounds very disingenuous off of the snippets that I've heard. But also it feels disingenuous in putting that out during this time when people want conversations that are deeper and more genuine. And I think that also just ties to Katy Perry's politic, because we can't forget the times in which she has been weird and turned people off. Like we can't forget the time she had that like Witness live stream and she had the dinner and she her and Amanda Seales went at it with each other because I'm blanking on what happened in that conversation, but Amanda Seales ate her up because Katy had no understanding about true politics for real regarding black people, I think. And then there was the other time in which Katy Perry was like voting, and she voted for that one like that one quote unquote Democrat. It was a Republican posing to be a Democrat, and he was luring celebrities in to vote for him to try to push the votes up. It was a scheme that Todd set up to come to y'all with the bullshit, and people just it doesn't work. But again, it shows her kind of questionable politic and her questionable knowledge on these things. So like, why is she making a song about this? I don't know. Why is this the lead single? I don't know. But again, like a lot, like the songs sound very consistent. They're very like pop slop, and that's kind of a consistent thing with some of the Dr. Luke songs. Like he has a very consistent sound, whether people like it or not. It's really up to which artist he works with at the time. Like Nicki Minaj got a hit with Super Freaky Girl and some of the songs with Pink Friday too, which I dare I say is her worst album yet. Then there is, you got Lotto with Big Energy and Lottery, and Big Energy is fine. It was a cute little hit. Lottery is kind of take it or leave it. It's kind of much of the same, and it's not really. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, and that's the problem. Then you have Kim Petras, and everybody is dragging Kim Petras because she seems to always have a Dr. Luke credit. Whether I think that's, some people are saying like, oh, it's just like a contractual thing, like he has to do that, and it's just like we need to get her out the contract, and like that. And some people just don't care, or like people don't like question if that's really an actual thing or not. And again, like people just there's also the fact that like people come at Kim Petras just because she's a trans woman. Like there's that angle of transphobia that people are hiding under the Dr. Luke conversation, I would say, but y'all not ready for that, are y'all? Um, but there's just kind of like, again, like with a lot of these artists that he works with, like there's a consistent sound between all of these songs. They're very clearly like trying to be pop hits, even if it has some sort of edge to like some sort of rap edge to them. They're still very much pop, and whether people like, again though, whether people like them or not, and whether they chart well, because again, the audience loves the charts. Really depends on if the artist like really has a somewhat decent song with Dr. Luke in that scenario. And I feel like with these snippets that I've heard with this album, and again, I don't know if Dr. Luke is working completely on this album or not, or if it's just certain songs, but they have that like air of desperation. Like Katy Perry wants a hit. She wants a hit album again. She wants a hit song again. And I feel like instead of doing what people with artistry should do, and people who like who care about the quality of things over the quantity, instead of like taking the step back, like really digging into like what you as an artist want to put out, what you want to convey to your audience, to your fans, and restarting from basics in that way, looking at what the audience likes and leaning into that, but also sticking into what you want to do as an artist. Instead of doing that, she seems to just like, she's pulled all of the resources that she could together to make these little cheap pop hits, these little cheap Lucy's. And there's two different conversations that are being had. I feel like there's like the Katy Perry stans, who are like, oh, like this is like, yes, like this is giving all the things, like, yes, honey, like these are like, this is a real gag. And they're saying that this is going to be like a hit album, like Katy Perry is back, like pop music is back, she's coming to say pop music, she's coming to say the things, party music, all that type of stuff, she's back, da 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 da. And then you have I guess everybody else who's like, why is she collaborating with Dr. Luke? These songs don't sound good. She named this album after the chart placement that she gonna get on Billboard. Some people being real mean about it, but like the issue is that like I feel like again it's like the songs are doing what they need to do for, I guess, the audience, the stands, but like those who like the real fans who actually care about the music, they're not feeling it. So, but I'm gonna wait and see how this rollout goes. I'm gonna listen to the song and hear and possibly give y'all my thoughts, whether it's in a short form video or a full-fledged podcast episode. And also I need to talk about the fact that she, with the rollout for Women's World, she did one, when people were asking her about Dr. Luke, and when people were like asking about like the Kesha thing that Dr. Luke had, and like, oh, like, do you still stand with Kesha, like what's going on here, she's completely avoided the conversation. Like, she's refused to answer any questions on it. There's literally a screenshot from her like live stream that happened a day or so ago, in which like it shows her like looking at the screen crazy to a comment that says like, oh, like, why are you collaborating with Dr. Luke? So this is an issue that people are like levying towards her, and the fact that she's not answering to it, or at least having her team answer to it, is going to be a big problem as the months roll on and as we get closer to this album, I think. But we will wait and see how the song does and how people feel about the song. And then we also had to talk about the fact that she collaborated with Trisha Paytas. I don't know if I talked like she collaborated with Trisha Paytas to like have her be the first person to listen to the song. I don't know why that was the case, because Trisha Paytas looked like someone who was just like, she clearly was there for the bag. She clearly was someone who was like, oh, I got paid for this. I'm not really feeling the song, but let me bob my head a little bit. Let me feel like, yes, like, yes, like, yes. Like, she was giving that. And the girls, like, I don't know if the girls really clocked that or not, but I was like, yeah, this kind of feel like she just got paid and she, gotta dance a little bit and bop to the beat to really, like, get her check. It felt a little disingenuous because, like, again, the song doesn't sound like, the song isn't and that's what happens when the song doesn't talk about anything. because it's just like, okay, like she was trying to make do with what she was doing. But I also felt some type of way about her collaborating with Trisha Paytas, because Trisha Paytas is like, for a feminist, a song like A Woman's World, a song that's gonna be celebrating women. Trisha Paytas is one of the few people that like really shouldn't be the first people you reach out to, because of the fact that that woman is literally she has so many controversies and done so many controversial things out of the wazoo. But it's the fact that people, are like kind of pretend. And when I say people, I mean like white people. A lot of people are pretending or ignoring those things because they don't care anymore. Because she's kind of she's kind of pulled a Paris Hilton, in which it's like, oh, like let me lean into my like quirky, funny persona. And this is not to shade Trisha Paytas in any way. I think she's still a good creator. It's just the fact that she has done a lot of bad things that have impacted, minorities. And I feel like she has refused to really acknowledge and step up for those things. But that's my thoughts on everything. I wish Katy the best of luck. She very clearly wants a hit. I hope she gets the hit, but it's not going to be without. It's going to be a climb. It's going to be a lot of hurdles that she's going to jump through in the next couple of months to really, really get what she really wants here. But those are my thoughts. I'll listen to Women's World, and I might give you guys my thoughts if y'all really want it. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear my thoughts. Again, thank you guys so much for listening to the Cake Radio Show. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Cake Radio Show for more episodes and to watch them ahead of anybody else. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.